Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. If you're an 8th grade learner, or honestly just someone who loves seeing how the physical world perfectly mirrors the principles of balance and harmony, you are in the exact right place. Often in science, we get so bogged down in memorizing formulas and elements that we totally miss the beautiful, overarching stories happening right there in the beaker. Well, today we're exploring a truly fascinating intersection, a place where rigorous, observable chemical science meets the very profound concept of peacemaking. We're looking at the chemistry of peace, specifically exploring acids, bases, and the incredible process of neutralization. This is definitely going to change the way you look at everyday chemical reactions. Okay, let's dive right into this. Consider this famous verse: "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Now, you might be scratching your head and wondering, what on earth does a verse from the book of Matthew have to do with an 8th grade chemistry lesson? Well, think about human nature for a second. In our daily lives, where conflicts constantly pop up, where tensions run high, and people sit on completely opposite extremes of an argument, we desperately need peacemakers. We need individuals who can step into the fray, calm the chaos, and just bring some balance to those extremes. And as it turns out, the chemical world operates in almost the exact same way. It has its own volatile extremes, and chemistry absolutely needs its own version of peacemakers to bring things back to a safe, stable center. Section 1. The extreme ends. So let's start by looking at what exactly we're trying to bring balance to in the physical world. Down in the molecular world, we have two distinct types of substances that, when left entirely on their own, can be highly reactive, intensely corrosive, and sometimes just downright dangerous. They are the chemical equivalent of two completely opposite warring forces. On one hand, we have acids. This represents one extreme chemical state. Think of things like the harsh acid inside a car battery, or even the potent gastric acid swirling around in your stomach right now. And on the opposing side, we have bases. These are substances like heavy-duty bleach or strong ammonia. Now, when these two opposing chemical forces come together, they clash. They react vigorously. But here's the beautiful secret of chemistry. Setting these two highly reactive extremes against each other actually creates the perfect opportunity for complete and total transformation. Section 2. Meet the peacemaker. So we know what the dangerous extremes are. But what happens when we need to resolve the chemical conflict between them? Like, what happens when a spill occurs or when a system is completely out of whack? We need an ultimate scientific solution to step in and restore order. And the scientific term for our chemical peacemaker is neutralization. By definition, neutralization is the process where an acid and a base mix and literally cancel each other out. That is the exact what of our lesson today. When a strong acid and a strong base meet, they stop being extreme. Through this chemical reaction, they actually strip away each other's highly reactive properties to create something entirely new, incredibly stable, and perfectly peaceful. It's really fascinating to see exactly how this transformation unfolds step by step. It's almost like a magic trick, but, it's pure science. Step 1, the acid and base mix together. Step 2, the chemical reaction rapidly occurs and they cancel out each other's extreme traits. And step 3, pay close attention here, they form salt and water. Think about that for just a second. You can take a dangerously corrosive acid that could burn your skin, mix it with a harsh, caustic base that is equally dangerous, and through the beautiful peacemaking process of neutralization, you are left with completely harmless, everyday salt and water. Two intense extremes become completely safe. Let's see how this actually builds into our scientific measurement system, the number 7. This isn't just a lucky number or some random digit. In the world of chemistry, 7 is the exact, precise target. We use something called the pH scale to measure how acidic or how basic a substance is. The scale generally goes from 0 to 14. 0 is extremely acidic, 14 is extremely basic. But right there in the absolute middle ground is 7. It represents perfect neutrality. Pure water sits right here at 7. So when a neutralization reaction occurs, the chemistry is actively aiming right for this target, bringing perfect scientific peace and balance to the equation. Section 3. Real-world balancing acts. We've thoroughly covered the what and the how, but why does this chemical peacemaking matter in our everyday lives? Well, without neutralization, our modern world just wouldn't function safely. This principle is used everywhere, from making our food safe to consume, to treating a painfully sour stomach, to reducing catastrophic environmental damage when toxic chemical spills occur. What's fascinating is that the process itself can happen at completely different speeds depending on what we need. The speed of our chemical peacemaking can be incredibly fast and dramatic. Imagine you're in a science lab and you accidentally drop a beaker of highly concentrated acid. Throwing a basic powder like baking soda onto that spill will calm it almost instantly. You'll see a lot of aggressive fizzing and bubbling as the peacemaking happens in seconds. On the other hand, neutralization can be a very slow, gradual, quiet process. Imagine farmers operating heavy machinery, spreading crushed limestone over hundreds of acres of overly acidic soil, and letting the rain slowly wash the base down into the dirt over weeks or months. Whether it happens in a split second with a loud fizz or takes its time over a whole season, the end result of this reaction is always exactly the same: perfect balance. Let's direct our attention to 3 specific everyday applications that you probably have in your house right now. First, antacids. If you or your parents have ever had a stomachache or heartburn after a really big meal, you've experienced the discomfort of having way too much acid in your digestive system. An antacid tablet is simply a mild, safe base that you swallow to neutralize that excess stomach acid and bring your body relief. That's neutralization happening right inside you. Second, garden lime. Farmers and gardeners use lime to neutralize acidic soil so their crops can actually absorb nutrients and grow properly. And third, baking soda. It's the ultimate, accessible base to clean up household acid spills. Like, say you drop a large bottle of harsh vinegar on the kitchen floor. We are constantly relying on this peacemaking process to protect us, feed us, and keep our environment safe. So, the crucial point is to lock in these core facts before we move on. Let's do a really quick rapid-fire review. Concept 1. What is neutralization? Very simply, it's the process of canceling out acids and bases. Concept 2. What are the main products that form? The answer is always salt and water. Concept 3. What is the target pH of this reaction? It is exactly 7, right there in the neutral middle of the scale. If you've got these 3 concepts understood, you have absolutely mastered the chemistry of peace. Section 4. True peace of mind. We've spent this explainer looking brilliantly closely at how microscopic molecules find balance and stop causing harm. But I want to transition you from active scientific learning into a deeper philosophical reflection, because true education, learning about the physical world, should always teach us something profound about ourselves and how we live. So what's the point of being smart and supposedly educated if we continue making bad choices that hurt? It is a remarkably powerful, poignant question. Think about it in terms of the chemistry you just learned. If you just keep adding more and more reactive acid into a beaker without ever introducing a neutralizing base, you just get a more dangerous, destructive, volatile environment. Similarly, acquiring pure academic knowledge, being incredibly book smart, without developing a strong moral compass, is kind of like creating an unbalanced chemical equation in your life. It's volatile. Education without morality is simply incomplete, and ultimately it leads to actions that cause harm. This realization is actually the core philosophy driving the Smart Academy Godly Learners series. They firmly believe in intertwining biblical morality directly with education, operating on the fundamental, tested truth that education without morality will hurt. Just as we absolutely need physical peacemakers in a chemistry lab to prevent a corrosive disaster, we desperately need moral and spiritual peacemakers in our minds and hearts to prevent us from making destructive choices. Spiritual morality and scientific education aren't two competing extremes that you have to choose between. Rather, they're beautifully connected forces that, when combined together, create a well-rounded, grounded, and truly wise human being. And that brings us perfectly full circle to this profound thought from the book of Romans chapter 8, which promises genuine peace of mind to everyone who keeps our minds spiritual. The physical neutralization we just studied brings a perfect, safe balance to what was once a chaotic chemical environment. In exactly the same way, intertwining your education with a strong spiritual moral foundation brings a perfect, lasting peace to your mind. It acts as the ultimate base, calming the chaos of life's extremes and neutralizing our worst impulses. So as you go about the rest of your week, I want to leave you with this provocative question to ponder. If you now know exactly how to bring balance to a volatile chemistry experiment, what active steps are you taking today to be a peacemaker, bringing that same beautiful neutralizing balance to your own mind and to the world around you? Keep seeking that balance, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.